Sworn to the Sword. I am so excited to be talking about this episode, not because it's a fantastic study of Pearl's character immediately after a fantastic study of Amethyst's character, not because it gives us insight into the war and Pearl's behavior during the war, not because it gives us more insight into Pearl's feelings for Rose, but because I finally get to use the flying creature attack counter again. Obviously, I'm doing the episodes in this show horribly out of order because I have all these backlogged episodes to do. So despite this being earlier, I think, than some of the episodes where I've used the counter before, I could be wrong about that now that I think about it. This is going to be the highest number that has ever appeared on that dang counter that I really thought I was going to get to use more often than I have. Because sometimes, even when a flying creature does attack, it's not specifically attacking Steven, so it breaks the rules, and I'm getting really off topic. This is a great episode. Obviously, it's a great episode for all the reasons that I pretended it wasn't earlier on. But yes, while hanging out with Connie, Steven gets attacked by seagulls again. And Connie fights them off, and she uses her violin bow, which reminds Steven of the time that they pulled the sword out of Lion's head, and Connie was able to wield it pretty much instinctually, which reminds Steven of the time that he saw Pearl get stabbed in the back by a hologram, which kind of makes me feel like this plan would get shut down immediately, but Steven still seems excited about it, and his plan is that he will take Connie to Pearl so that Connie can train with Pearl to become a sword fighter. And it takes a little bit of convincing, but Pearl eventually relents, and they go to the Cloud Arena or Sky Arena or whichever one this particular arena is, and Connie and Pearl start training, and there's this great song with Pearl where it's framed like she's singing about Connie, but she's really singing about herself, and how she basically used herself as a meat shield for Rose during the war. How she felt she wasn't as important as Rose, so she sacrificed herself over and over again to seemingly protect Rose, when Rose probably didn't need her help. And we don't get that specifically in the song, we learn some of that later, but the point is the song romanticizes this kind of behavior and then refocuses it as if Pearl expects Connie to behave this way towards Steven. And Steven's not the naive kid he was back in early season 1. He's grown, a little bit sharper, he notices things a little bit easier. So he immediately picks up on this, and a few more training sessions in, he finally confronts Connie about this, and basically straight up declares that he doesn't want her to put herself first. He wants them to be a team. And so they fight Pearl as a team, and they actually manage to push her back. And it's pretty freaking fantastic. And then the episode touches on what you kind of feel has been building to this entire time. It kind of finally clicks for Connie too, and she finally asks Pearl, did Rose make you feel like you were worthless? Because that's definitely how it's felt this entire episode. That's how Rose made Pearl feel. But what Pearl says makes even more sense. That it was exactly the opposite. That Rose made her feel like she was actually something. And they word it differently, obviously. I'm not quoting it verbatim, but the point is, she didn't sacrifice herself for Rose because she felt worthless around Rose, because Rose made her feel like she was worth nothing and therefore was only useful as a sacrifice. She sacrificed herself for Rose because she loved and cared about Rose so much that she really did feel like Rose was more important than she was. But also because she genuinely couldn't imagine what her life would be like if something happened to Rose. She was worried that without Rose, she would go back to feeling like some nobody slave who doesn't matter at all. And she was willing to risk her life countless times to prevent that from happening. And the ending here actually reminds me a lot of Space Race, when Pearl finally had the means to return home, because despite what her station was on Homeworld, she still loved and still misses her home. But then she realized that she could have a new home here because she has Steven. Here we learn that probably since Rose has been gone, Pearl has been struggling with a feeling that she doesn't matter anymore. But now she has Steven and Connie and this work with them and just their lives in general together to live for instead. And just like the last episode built a foundation upon which further Amethyst character development could be built, this episode sets the stage for Pearl coming to terms with her identity as a Pearl in several upcoming episodes as well. And not only that, but it sets the stage for Steven and Connie training together and becoming Stevani and training as Stevani, and Steven actually becoming a capable fighter as well as the moral center of the team, which I'm all for his peaceful solutions to things and his trying to reason with the enemies and him being the moral center, but sometimes you have to fight to protect the things you care about, to protect the people you care about. And thanks to the development that started in this episode, Steven is now capable of that. Guys, what did you think of this episode? Let's get a discussion going in the comment section down below. Either way, this has been AJ22, and I will talk to you guys later.
She's the strawberry,
And he's the biscuit!
and that makes us jam buds.
What?